Liam Delap is off to Chelsea. He wanted Champions League football, and Manchester United couldn't offer it right now. So where does United's attention turn to now? I'm going to run through a list of strikers, and you can let me know exactly who fits the bill for you in the comments, because there are some names on this list you may well not be talking about. So United definitely wanted to sign Delap this summer. We went there early, we'll pay the bill. No, he chose Chelsea. Right, move on. Hope you completely nutly failed to Chelsea. Anyway, United need a striker this summer. So what I'm going to do in this video is going to run through a list of 7 names. 7 names. Some you know, some you might not expect. And you can let me know in the comments which you think United will go after. Because I think when it comes to choosing this striker, there's just like 4 main categories that we're looking at, right? How old are they? How much they're going to cost? How big are their wages? What experience do they have? And that's where Liam Delap sort of ticked pretty much all those boxes. It would have been a risk, but it would have been a low-cost risk. Now I'm going to move on and speak about the big names first, because I know everybody in the chat is going to be speaking about these two. Osimhen. When it comes to his experience, he's a goal scorer, man. He is right up there. I mean, you could argue he's the most elite goal scorer in this list. And for a lot of United fans, it doesn't matter about the wages, man. Just go and get him. Or so they say. I still feel that it's unlikely. There's obviously reports and suggestions that maybe United are in conversations with Napoli and that Højlund could go the opposite direction and United could then sign Osimhen for less and then therefore pay him more wages. And it's not outside the realms of possibility. But I still feel that Osimhen's most likely move from Napoli is going to be to the Saudi League. Obviously, he went on his loan at Galatasaray there. But Osimhen is going to be number one for a lot of people. And probably for the rest of them, it's going to be Gyökeres. It's going to be one of those two. I don't really think there's a point in having a conversation about Sesko now that Arsenal are in talks with him. But Gyökeres, no one's in talks with him. Is that something that is a red flag for you? I don't really think too much for me. But he is, I think only Mbappe scored more goals than him last season. He's dominated since he moved from Coventry to Sporting. The question is, can he make that step up to United? And I suppose you could say the same thing about Osimhen, but I suppose he was at Napoli, which is a bit of a higher level than Sporting. Gyökeres is a goal getter. He is a striker who would fit like a glove in the Amorim system because it was the Amorim system that allowed him to flourish out at Sporting. They are the top 2 names on the list. And I think there's going to be quite a few shouts now for Mateta. I think price-wise, if you're looking at Osimhen, 70 million euros, it's probably not too far off to think about how much they want. And we know that 75 million euros doesn't apply. It's 54 million pounds. That's how much it will cost. I want to say a thank you to Surfshark for sponsoring this video and supporting United People's TV. Anybody who's been a member here will know that I went through that hack. Even before the hack, I was all about protecting yourself online. And that is exactly where Surfshark comes in. It is a VPN. And look, United are right now, well, finishing the postseason tour. They've been to Malaysia. They've been to Hong Kong. In the summer, they're going to America. And that is a big reason why you can use a VPN. That's where Surfshark steps in. You can change your location to over 3,200 servers in 100 countries, access and unblock content and apps that you can't otherwise access all around the world. And for me, the big thing is about online security. VPN encrypts your data when you use free public Wi-Fi. It masks your online IP so your location isn't linked to your identity. Clean Web also helps to block ads, and Surfshark doesn't monitor or track any of your online data. It really is there to protect you. Now, if you use the code on the screen here, surfshark.com/UPTV, and you use the code UPTV at the checkout, you can get 4 months extra free. It's all about protecting yourself. That's where Surfshark steps in. Mateta, how much do you actually think it will cost to get him out of Palace? He's got the Premier League experience. That's a one-up for Mateta over those two. Palace has won the FA Cup. Mateta is not going to be as valuable, or any more valuable than he is right now. Do Palace want to sell, or do Palace want to try and hold on to their team? I think there could be clubs coming in for Eze with the release clause that he's got. Mateta, I would guess around about 40 million. Of course, he plays in a 3-at-the-back system for Crystal Palace under Glasner. He knows that role. He can play it very well. He could be the perfect foil, when I say foil, complement to maybe if United sign Cunha. I don't know about Mbeumo as well. And I think there's a conversation to be had. I said it in the last show today. I genuinely think, and I just think there is a possibility that if United sign Mbeumo, that we don't actually sign a striker. That we actually try to spread the goals, that we play Mbeumo and Cunha as the 2 forwards, the 2 number 10s, and then we play Xerxes and Højlund and Chido as the sort of false nine-ish. I know, look, I just think there's a possibility. I don't really think Jonathan David's a possibility, and not really much point us having a conversation about him. I think Napoli are close to agreeing a deal to sign him. He is a free agent, but he's been a free agent the whole time. If United really wanted him, then United would have gone out and got him. I've always found it very strange how there haven't been as many clubs going after Jonathan David. I really have. But I don't think he's going to be coming to United. I think he's going to be or maybe he is. I don't know. He's a free agent, so I suppose if United go in there and then he might choose between United and Napoli, he might well choose United. I just don't see it happening. I'm not sure he's a perfect fit either. And I'm not really sure I would discuss Vlahovic too much as a perfect fit. I think, look, since he's moved to Juventus, it's not quite worked out for him. Don't know who Juventus' manager is anymore. Allegri's just joined Milan. Was Allegri the Juve manager when he joined? I don't know. Vlahovic just doesn't move me. If I'm being totally honest, I think he's a striker who would improve our options, sure. Yeah. But I don't think Vlahovic would be the solution to our goal-scoring problems. I don't think he would fit better than Mateta. I don't think he would fit better than Gyökeres or Osimhen. I think Vlahovic would be a player that you could look at. I don't think he'd be an awful signing, but I think there are better options for United. Now, somebody who, I think price-wise, you're probably looking at, arguably the most expensive on this list, really. Well, certainly right up there with the price of Osimhen. Agahauer from Porto, he definitely could fit that. He's a physical monster. He's kind of I wouldn't say he's got a lot of similarities with Gyökeres in that sense, but from a physical perspective, there's a lot to like about his game, about his style of play, and I think he would fit into the system very well. Great age, 21, years ahead of him, but I think he would be too much for what United are going to be looking at this summer. Now, this is a curious one. I'm just throwing this in as a bit of a curveball. Now, I don't actually think United will go after Ollie Watkins. But given it felt a bit weird at Villa last season, I'll be totally honest. Like the Rashford situation, him coming in, and then all of a sudden Watkins not playing against City or playing against PSG, it kind of like stretched the relationship, you can call it, between Watkins and Emery. They're not in the Champions League next season. I think there's a possibility they could consider selling him. Well, they sold John Duran to Saudi. I think they could and would sell Watkins. How much do you think he'd actually cost? 50 million euros? He's 29. He's 30 this season. So he's not exactly the long-term signing, but you could say, well, maybe United just needs somebody in for a year or two to be there to steer Cheeto before he comes through. And all of a sudden, as a 19, 20-year-old becomes our top striker. It's a possibility. Premier League proven. Premier League goals. Don't think he'd be anywhere near 50 million euros either. And I think he would fit in the system. There's 7 names on the list. I'll run through them again. Osimhen, Gyökeres, Mateta, Jonathan David, Dusan Vlahovic, Agahauer, and Watkins. Of those 7, I think lots of you are going to choose Osimhen or Gyökeres. But let's say those 2 aren't feasible because of the prices, because of the wages, because of the lack of Champions League football. Which of the rest, or maybe there's someone else on your list that you would choose? And as I said, I think that it's quite easy to understand why I should probably, You know exactly what United need? Goals. Should probably have put that on my list of defining factors as to what striker we're going to sign. Or maybe we're not. And maybe we go and sign Cunha and Mbeumo and we actually don't sign a striker. Now, I know that's an outrageous suggestion in theory, but anyway, all these options are open. Who do you choose? You let me know what you think in the comments.